I did wonder how best to start this video, and I thought of lots of different ways and lots of different things that I could do, but I thought the best thing to do would just be to show you these little guys. These are in the brooder at the minute. They've been in here for a week, so they'll be moving up to the yard very soon. There's 3 of them in there, and they are lavender bantam chickens, and I'm hoping one of them is a cockerel. The reason being is because if you watch any of our other videos in the past, you'll know that up at the yard we've got some lavender bantams, but they're all hens, so you can't really do much with the hens other than just have the eggs, but the eggs are obviously unfertile, and if we want to either expand our own laying flock of bantams, or if we want to sell the bantam chicks or the bantam eggs for hatching, then we need to bring in a cockerel. And the easiest way we can bring in a cockerel is if we hatch our own. So I'm hoping one of these guys is going to help, and that will help us to earn a little bit more. But as I'll explain a little bit later on, we've already got the infrastructure in place. We just got to try to get all of the animals in place. Now, a lot of this video I'm going to talk about the figures, the numbers, how many eggs are laying, how much we're taking in, how much we're spending out. But one thing that I can't really place a price on is where we've raised the chickens ourselves. Oh, that's just their heat lamp going out because it's obviously up to temperature in there. One thing is where we've... oh my god, that's mega dirty down there. Oh, I'll be cleaning that tomorrow. I didn't realise it was quite that dirty. Sorry, I do apologise. Is where we raise the chickens ourselves, and then we're able to kill them, and then we butcher them, and they end up in the freezer. So you've got free food, even though it's not exactly free. It isn't something you can really place a price on. So yeah, let's cut over to the screen, and I will show you what I've been working on for the last few months. Right, this is the not quite so interesting bit, but it gives a lot of info about the flock and what we're doing and how we're earning a little bit of income and what we can do to improve on it. So what I've got up on the screen there is a spreadsheet, and it's a spreadsheet that I hold in the Google Documents, and by holding it within the Google Documents it means that I can access it on the computer as we are here, but I can also access it on my phone. Sorry, I'm just moving that out of the way because I just had a message come through at the most inappropriate time. Yeah, so I can also access it on my phone, so I can fill in the details either when I'm at home by the computer or when I'm down at the yard with the chickens. So what we've got here is we've got the sheet for January, and I've done the last video on the 20th of January, so I started recording this on the 21st. So I've got from the 21st to the 31st of January, and all I've got is I've got the date over here, how many eggs were laid by the chickens, the ducks, the geese, the quail, how many boxes I placed into the honesty box for the chickens, the duck, the goose and the quail, how much money was placed in the honesty box, and how much money I spent out. So that goes all the way through for the whole month, and then underneath you can see the totals. So for the last 10 days of January we had 101 eggs offered the chickens, none from the duck, none from the geese, none from the quail. I put 13 boxes into the honesty box. I'll highlight it, that'll be a bit better, wouldn't it? For the chickens, and I took £12. So there I had a loss of 1 box, but that 1 box might have been one of these ones that was placed on the 31st that goes over to next month's. So it was still in there on the 1st of February, it could well be. So you can see over the last 10 days I made a loss of £37.70, which is fine, you know, that's not much, that's just over, if you do that over the whole month that would be £1 a day. Over the 10 days you're looking nearer to £4 a day to keep the birds. So yeah, I'm not too fussed about that. So if we go from that over to the February one, this is where it starts to get into an area where you can start to really compare it. Because I've done this over the course of the whole month, I'm going to have this ready for next year as well. So we had 258 eggs from the chickens over the whole month, 32 from the ducks, one which I think was a goose but might not have been a goose, so either way it doesn't really matter. 28 boxes went in for the chickens and I took £26. Looking at the numbers and the figures, you can see in the last 2 days there I didn't actually place any boxes in, so over the course of that month, yeah, I lost a little bit of money out of that. But again, I'm not really that fussed by it. The reason why there's none of the duck ones have gone in and we got the 32 there is because they would lay 1, maybe 2 eggs a day. If you look through, you can see we've got 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 4. Trying to save them up to get half a dozen to place them in. I don't like having them hanging around for that long. I prefer that the ones I'm going to sell are the really fresh ones, and if I bring home maybe 4 or 5 day old ones, it doesn't really bother me, it doesn't matter. You can see that I've marked up that we lost one duck there. We lost that duck to a wild bird, I think it was, that came in and grabbed it. And you can see we got three instances where we spent £17.75. That was where we buy layers, pellets and mixed corn, 1 bag of each. That's how much it comes to. So you can see over the course of the month of the February we had a loss of £37.25. Again, when you compare that to January, it's not much at all. I don't mind losing out by the £40 a month just to do that. Now things change a little bit in March. I will say, remember with the figures here, I'm not including the rent of the land, I'm not including the water, the electricity or anything else like that. So in March it starts to warm up, the days get longer. When it gets longer, the chickens start to lay more, the ducks you would hope would lay more, and everything else like that. It didn't always work out like that, but you can see down the side here I've got everything marked up for all the money that I spent. You can't see that, can you? There's me blabbering on, you can't even see it. Let me see what I can do. I just don't want to include the URL of where this is in the thing. There we go. Yep, that looks fine. So you can see down on the right hand side here I've got where we spent out on everything. So we got layers and corn, and where we lost a cockerel. Well, we didn't lose a cockerel, that's one of the cockerels that's in the freezer. Layers, corn and hatching quail eggs. So I actually paid £20 for some quail eggs on that day. More hatching eggs, more bedding, feed, 3 cockerels that went into the freezer. But you can start to see that there's been a jump up in the number of eggs that have laid. So the chickens have gone up to 333. We haven't increased the number of layers, it's just because of the time of the month. So the February one was 258. Yes, we have got 3 days extra in March than we have in February, but not enough to up it to 333. 23 for the duck, 13 for the geese. The geese ones we have tried to incubate, but they've come up as being empty, which is a bit of a shame. I have got 1 goose who is sat on 2 eggs, so I have to wait and see what happens with that. 34 boxes went into the honesty box for the chickens, and we took £34 from them. However, in March we spent £147, giving us a grand loss of £113.64 in March. A little bit more than I was expecting it to be, I must admit, but because I paid for all of the hatching eggs and everything else like that, that gave us a loss. So if we then move on to April, obviously we are April the 14th today, and I haven't filled it in for today. Oops, I'll do that in a little bit. So you can see there are things where I've spent out, again the numbers are going up, we're getting 14s, 12s, 18s, 21 on one day, 7 on one day, 18 on the next. The reason why it went from 21 to 7 to 18 is because I was up there quite late on the 11th. so I was able to do all of the eggs that they'd laid over the course of the day, because of course, as you know, you probably keep chickens yourself, but you know they don't lay a lot overnight. They actually lay them during the day. So the old kind of like a Disney image of the farmer's wife going out early morning and collecting all the eggs that the chickens have laid overnight is a load of old rubbish. My chickens tend to lay between 10 AM and 1 PM. Normally I'm up there between 9 AM and 10 AM. So I get the early ones and the ones from the previous day. So yeah, on the 11th I was there late, so I was able to grab 21 eggs. On the 12th I was there early, so I only got 7. And then the 13th it comes back to roughly normal as they are at the minute for 18, which is fine. You see, I also spent out on some egg boxes. We ran out of egg boxes and we didn't have any left, so I had to buy some to be able to put the honesty boxes in to keep it going. So you can see that currently for the month of April we're up to 174 for the chickens, so we're on line to crack the excuse the pun, to crack the 333 that was laid in March. We should do more than that in April. 12 for the ducks, they're not really laying at all well. 2 for the geese, which have come off of Georgie. For some reason she lays them in the nest box and then she rolls them down the hill. None for the quail yet, they're not coming through. 24 of the 24 boxes of the chicken eggs have gone in. I've put in 1 box of the duck eggs and we've taken 23. Reason for that is because I know a person has come in, they've grabbed some and they've gone off on holiday and they still owe me the money, which they're going to sort out soon. So far with April we're down £31. That will go up more, mainly because next weekend I've got the first auction of the year. We're not putting anything into it, but we are going to buy. We're looking at getting more eggs to increase our stocks of the Sussexes and Leghorns and maybe runner ducks and a few other things as well, because what we're doing is where we've got a lot of mixed breeds and hybrids, we also have a lot of what do you call them when they're not hybrids or mixed breeds? Pure breeds, that's the words I was looking for. We've also got pure breed light Sussex, we've got pure breed Leghorns, leg bars, black Orpingtons and a few other ones. So what we're going to start to do is we want to bring in other birds of those, mainly the cockerels, to be able to breed with them, so as we can then start up our own little flocks of light Sussex and we can then sell the light Sussex eggs on. It's just going to be a way, as towards the end of the year we're going to start to be able to do that. It won't happen now and it doesn't happen instantly, but to be able to stop these losses, even if we can sell 12 hatching eggs either at auction or on eBay, even though I hate eBay, but either way, if we can sell 12 hatching eggs, if we can sell the chicks as being light Sussex rather than just going for mixed hybrid from our layer stock, or if we can do the ducks or even the geese. So yeah, that's what we're going to auction to buy. So fingers crossed it'll all work out. Now also on the sheet here I've got one which you might be able to read it down the bottom there. It says incubation and tracking. And what I've done with this is it's quite simple. If I highlight the chicken ones, there we go. So I highlight them. So basically I've got chicken, quail, duck and goose. Chickens 21 days, lockdown after 18, quails, duck, goose. So I've got where I brought the item from. So for the top ones, that was for Leghorn eggs, and you can see it's eBay, and then I've got the eBay user ID there. 6 Leghorn eggs, started on the 23rd of the 1st, 2019. Dates are actually wrong there. Lockdown was the 11th of the 2nd, and the hatch date would have been Valentine's Day. Unfortunately, none of them made it into lockdown. Every single one of them was empty. So then you can see we've got ours, 9 mixed because they just came out of the layers flock. They were leftover eggs that I had. They went into lockdown and 5 made it through to lockdown, 4 hatched, which gave us an 80% rate. I only count the eggs that go into lockdown as being those that are part of the hatch rate when I'm doing my own eggs like that. And you can see we ordered 6 lavender banthams off of eBay. 6 made it into lockdown and we got 3 chicks out of them, obviously 50%. So this just helps me to keep a track, and you can see it at the top here I've got in now and that nice blue one. So any which are in the incubators now, I highlight them with the blue, and that then allows me to see what's in, how much longer it's in for, and what's going to happen. So yeah, I can just do this off this sheet. As I said, I can work on it at home or I can work on it down at the yard. It doesn't really matter at all, but it allows me to keep an eye on what the birds are doing and how many eggs are actually coming through and what's happening. Otherwise I'd be thinking, oh yeah, last week I had 20 eggs on one day, but I can't remember which day it was, and I can see if there's trends, if they're going up or if they're going down, or if they're not moving at all, and if there's anything I need to look at within the flock. So this is part 2. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it gives you a little bit of an insight into what's going on in my head as I try to work out how I'm going to earn a bit of money off of the chickens. I don't want to earn anything. I just want to really be able to cover my costs, which obviously right now we're not exactly doing. So yeah, please like, please comment, please subscribe, please give me any ideas you have down below. As I said, we are going to be moving to expand into purebreds lines, but with animals you can't do anything overnight. If it was an asset, say I sold, say they were the kitchen taps, if I wanted to change the colour of the kitchen taps, I could do that within a couple of days within a warehouse quite easily. When you're dealing with live animals, you have to wait, unfortunately, and you have to build up first the infrastructure, which is what we've done now down at the yard, and then after you've built up the infrastructure, you then are able to mould it and change and adjust to how you want things to actually run and operate. I hope that makes perfect sense. If it doesn't, leave us a comment down below and I'll try to explain. Keep an eye out, because I'll do number 3 again. No, I'll do number 3 in a couple of months' time, and you can see if we've actually got any other ways as to how we're bringing cash in to help us with the flock. So thanks for watching. Please like, please comment, please subscribe, and until the next video, bye bye.